Hey fam!
Let's be
3D. Hey fam, welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Be 3D. We are just super excited about this episode
It's gonna be
because
awesome.
today we're going to be talking about our mission trips that
Yes.
we did overseas.
Yes.
But before we get into that,
roll call.
we're gonna do our usual roll call, and we have an exciting person.
An exciting,
For
I'm
her
exciting.
I'm
first-
an exciting person. Yay.
Yeah, first time on the podcast, our sister Naomi.
Whoop,
Hey
whoop.
fam.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
You look gorgeous.
Aw,
I'm
thank
so
you.
glad you're on here. You bring
Thank
that
you.
confident presence and
Strength.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
So, how you doing, Abby, down there?
Well,
She's
very
amazing since I'm sitting by her.
I was about to
I got
say.
my twin with me. For those of you who
Yeah.
don't know, Naomi and I are twins.
Yeah.
So the twins are here.
Yeah. Do you feel better having
I
your
feel
twin
better?
right there?
Well,
Just that
I
common
like
bond.
her here.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, man.
Anyway, hello
then-
fam.
Holding down the right
Happy
end.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Now can I talk, please?
Yes, go
Thank
ahead.
you. Holding down the right end. Jacob here. Happy to be with y'all. And this is probably one of my favorite topics
Oh, it's
Yes.
gonna be
that
great.
we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. In fact, it's such a lengthy discussion that we're going to have to break this up into
Oh, yeah.
two podcasts.
Our first two-part
Yes, our
topic.
two-part series.
So be ready. Stay tuned. Yes.
Sorry, we talked about that last week.
Yes, it's gonna
Yes,
be
we talked
awesome.
about that last week, actually.
Oh, yeah.
really?
Content or discontent?
Which tent do you live
I
in?
do listen to the podcast. I promise. It's just I don't remember.
You
everything.
haven't listened
Wow.
to this one, though.
That's okay.
'cause
Oh, this
we
was
always
episode 5?
That was on
record our
episode
five.
podcasts
No,
a
I
week
usually-
before.
Yeah.
So Naomi usually doesn't listen to it till the day of, but
Till a
she
road trip, which hence
Road
perfect time to
trip.
listen to a podcast.
Ooh, of
Right.
course.
Exactly.
Got a
Just
road
saying.
trip up ahead.
Shall we jump in?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're like we said, we're talking about our mission trips and how it all started. You know, doing the music camps, doing concerts overseas in the beautiful part of the world called Eastern Europe, and it is so underrated. I mean, I remember seeing a statistic about, the top 10 most underrated countries to go on vacation, and most of those countries are in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, Romania.
Serbia
Yep.
was actually
Serbia.
number 1 and Romania was number 2.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've been to both those
been there.
places.
And it is
they
a
are
beautiful
beautiful.
country.
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
So I would like to start with Abby
Oh, me?
by
Hi,
if
Abby.
you can go ahead and just start us off by telling us, how it all started, how we met.
Well,
telling
part of me
them
was
how it all started.
actually
We know
hoping.
how it all started.
Abby wasn't paying
attention.
attention. She was 12, so
I was 12. I was 12 years old at the time.
Well, then why don't I?
Yes.
she was about to suggest
Thank
that. I
you.
know.
All right,
'cause
we're
I
gonna
was
pass
like,
it to
mine-
Jacob.
Joshua, you gave me the one I didn't know
So-
much about. I mean, I know the basic story, just not all the details.
All right, we
Right,
will
I
get back to
understand.
Abby
Well,
soon. Jacob.
So we were attending Katy Bible Church at the time. We still lived in Texas. And one of the principles, one of the, modes of operation,
MOs.
MOs about Katy Bible Church is they're a very mission-oriented
Oh,
church.
yes.
And they support missionaries directly. And so, as a part of that support, they ask the missionaries that they support to come back over to Katy Bible Church and give mission reports from time to time. And so, one of the what's so funny?
yeah, what?
Abby made a face. I'm
I
sorry.
was trying to hold back a sneeze. I didn't want to sneeze.
Oh,
on the
I
If
podcast.
you hear Indy random giggling, that's Abby and I. So.
We're laughing in each other's faces.
Funny. Anyway, so one of the mission reports, it was in August of 2012, if
That's
I remember
right.
correctly.
Yes.
Darko Adamek, who is, he was then the director of the chapter of CEF, Child Evangelism Fellowship in Serbia. He has since been promoted to a regional director of Eastern
Yes.
Europe.
Yes.
But at the time, he was just the director for Serbia, Montenegro, and Bosnia,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
And anyway, so Katy Bible Church supported his family directly. And so he brought his entire family, if I remember.
Yes, we
Yes.
met his entire family.
His entire family, his wife and 3 kids, Damian, Diana, and Deborah.
Yes.
Deborah, right? Serbian.
Yes.
Fun stuff.
Deborah,
You had to
Deborah.
learn how to say things differently.
It
Or
was
just
fun.
call him a nickname.
like Debbie.
Yes.
She did answer to Debbie. Anyway, and he gave his mission report complete with slideshow presentation, all kinds of cool stuff. And it was amazing to see the work that they were doing among kids. One of the things that my parents had always wanted to do was to find a way to do missions as a family.
Yes.
At that point, everyone except Justice.
No.
Well, actually,
Even
Justice
Justice.
had just.
Justice earlier that year, Justice had.
Oh, was it earlier
Yes.
that year? Okay. I couldn't remember if it was the next year or
Yes.
anyway.
somewhere
So
around there.
all of the children had given their lives to Christ. And so they felt, and they were also at the age of remembering things. Justice was like
Right.
5 or
Right.
almost 6.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
so,
it was an
opportunity to
opportunity.
do things as a family, mission oriented wise. I mean, we had the band and we had all that stuff going on,
At
but
the
this
very
would be
beginning stages. of
right,
it.
right.
Where like it was still kind of a hobby.
But this was a way to get into mission work.
yes,
You know. And so she got to talking with James Civilly, who was Darko's translator there, and an idea popped into her head about doing music camps. See, our mentor Buddy Griffin that we've mentioned before had just returned from Africa,
Right.
Yes.
and he took ukuleles with him and taught the kids, gave them the ukulele, used it as a tangible illustration of the gospel of Christ.
Exactly.
And the idea popped into Mom's head that we could do the same at their camp in Serbia.
Yeah.
And so she mentioned the idea to James. James loved it, and he told Darko. Darko loved it, and we come later to find out he's from a musical family himself.
Right.
yes.
And his father was a traveling evangelist.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we met later that year with James to discuss, plans and all that, mundane stuff
Right.
to come over. And it was really exciting because we'd never done anything like this before. They hadn't either. Their camps were more of the teaching kids to speak English, or a focus on kids, focus on teens, focus on young adults,
Yeah.
sports,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. They'd never done a music-oriented camp. And so it was a first for everyone all around.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were really excited. So summer of 2013, we headed over for 10 days, taught a week-long music camp, and someone else. I'll pass it off
before
to
that-
Abigail.
Well, before we get into 2013, our first mission trip over there, we used our concerts.
Yes. That's right.
That we had in 2012 to 2013 to raise money to go overseas.
Right.
And so really that was the focus of our concerts at the time. Of course, we loved playing music together. But again, like we say, it was not professionally. We were all under the age of 17,
Yes.
16. And so, we were still young and learning and stuff like that. But God provided all the money we needed.
Yes,
we
he did.
Didn't have to supplement any money. And we were able to go over there for 10 days.
Yes.
First music camp for them, first mission trip, and
First time out of the country.
first time out of the country.
For most of it.
For most
Funny
of us.
thing, Daddy retired in
Oh, yeah.
early
This is funny.
2013.
Yes.
And he worked in the oil and gas business, a petroleum engineer. And he never wanted to take a job that would take him out of America. He was like, I'm happy here. I don't want to be moving around all over the place. So, he had never left the country.
No. He
and
hadn't.
so he retired.
Well,
Well,
you
except
take
for
that back.
Mexico.
Except for
Well,
Mexico.
he never left North
America.
The
North
only
America.
person who left North America was
His
Mom, because her brother lived in London for a little bit. So she's been to England.
Anyway, so funny thing is he retires and then God sends him to Serbia.
Yeah, 6
as
months
well.
later.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so-
cool.
2013,
Yeah.
our first music camp, we had 22 kids ranging from about 5 to 16-ish. Maybe
Somewhere
17.
around
They were
there.
all younger
well,
than
no,
you.
I would
They were
say
younger than me,
no.
and I was 16 at the time.
I would say Hold up.
Well, Debbie
I
was 5
think-
at the time.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so
13.
I would say the oldest was 13 and
Okay.
the youngest was about.
Because Abby and
I
so
were
five.
13.
Yeah.
So
And the
you and
oldest
Jacob,
campers
you
are-
and
were
Joshua
around
were
our
older
age.
than all the
Yes.
campers.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
Yeah.
22
13,
kids ranging
14.
from 5 to 13. And it was our family, Darko and Lydia Adamick, Carl and Julie Bannert, who were American missionaries. Actually, Julie was the daughter of our pastor at Katy
Yes.
Bible Church.
at that time, yes.
At that time, Pastor Ron, who has since gone on to be with the Lord.
Yes.
Yes.
And then another American couple, Ethan and Jan Schrader.
They were part
They
of
were
CEF.
part of
Yeah.
CEF.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
a
Couple of
Of-
Anna
couple of-
and Marina.
couple of
They
Serbian young ladies,
volunteers,
volunteers, and then Nadja Trajkovic
And
from the Ukraine,
what
who was
was
a
the
music
cook's
teacher.
name?
Yes.
She's been there more than 1 year. I want to call her
Dragana?
Baba,
Who?
but that's grandma.
Dragana? Yes.
No.
Is that her?
Short,
shoot.
older lady.
Oh,
She
who was
loves
the
mom.
cook? Who was the cook?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Katya
Katya.
Oh,
Yes.
and
okay.
then
Okay.
also Tekagotsa.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I keep having Daniel in my head because he and her had a very special relationship,
yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But anyway,
Well, we
Um,
prayed and went over there. The flight, we were exhausted when we got
Oh,
there.
well,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a story.
Goodness.
We need to tell the story.
You tell it.
You tell it
I can
because you're
tell
the
it?
only one
Okay.
that remembers this particular one.
Well, I love to travel, so I remember details of travel. Anyway, so this was, like we just mentioned, first time out of the country for all the kids.
Yes.
Longest flight. We'd taken a few short flights before,
Yeah.
but this was long.
oh yeah,
We had the sleeping pills and everything. We had no idea what we were supposed to do.
I found out
It
real
was
quick.
funny.
I don't sleep well on the
Yes.
long flight. I learned to not sleep on the long flight,
But
and
rest.
then I would be so exhausted on the short flight. I'd be just like,
She'd sleep on the
yeah,
Right.
I'd just
Anyway,
sleep on the
Because
short
there was
flight.
no direct
two
flight from Houston to Boca.
travel
Anyway.
stories. One is kind of funny because it tends to be a trend in my life, and then the second one is a miracle story. So first story,
Oh yes,
I
yes,
set off
yes.
the security alarm.
oh
Actually-
I remember that.
remember that.
Actually,
Yes.
my banjo did.
Oh,
because we brought the
wow.
tenor
We
banjo.
brought the tenor banjo that
was
year.
stupid.
Yes. Okay. We were not about to take our bass over there.
You
No.
played a cello. That was awesome.
Yes. They said they would have a bass at camp, but it was
Was it-
actually a cello.
Yeah.
So we rented a cello for me to learn how to play bass on cello. And then later
was
I played a
weird.
Polish bass. And then actually one concert I had to play the tenor banjo as a bass. So fun times. Anyway,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that
I
was
remember
probably
yeah.
it's all coming back now.
Okay, so
Sorry, that's
we,
crap.
so I brought my tenor banjo and it was heavy and gold plated, and for some reason it set off the alarm. And I am 13 at the time, and so I'm just standing there waiting, like, I don't know, there's nothing in there. So, well, obviously except a banjo. They wiped it
Well, thank you.
and everything.
I know,
And it
right?
just kept setting off the alarm. So they were going to take me into the back room to pat me down because they didn't do that. For some reason, they do it in public now. They don't do it. I don't know why. But they took me in the back room. Mom went with me. They patted me down. Nothing. So it didn't set off the alarm the last time. It was
It's
just like,
what are you hiding, Peter?
I don't know. And
Just kidding.
it's not going to be the last time that I set off the alarm. For some
You have a history of
I
getting the
have-
special security and
Yes,
all that
don't
crazy
fly
stuff.
with
That
me
was
if you do
my
not want to get stuck
biggest
into it.
fear, though. Getting on that flight was the security. I'm like, I'm gonna set the alarm because I mean, I didn't have braces at that time, but I got braces the next year.
Don't you hate
I
that?
think
You didn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
braces the first year?
No,
No,
I
she didn't get
I
braces till she was
till I
15.
14.
If I remember
Huh.
right, I
Whatever.
think you were
Anyway.
no, you still had braces the first
I
year. I
had
believe.
braces.
I was so
'cause I know I
afraid to
did.
set off the
I
alarm.
think I might have.
So
Because
it's
seriously,
like
I
every
set
time
off
you
the
can walk
Germany
through, you're like,
alarm
Yeah.
with my braces. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Right. Anyway, so that happened in Houston. And then in Germany, they wanted us to play our instruments. And we're like, we need to hit our flight. But anyway,
we gotta go.
we have to go because they know in Germany, they know what tenor banjos are. It's that
Well, they
is
know what
big over
musical
there. So
instruments are.
they wanted to hear music, but we had to go. Anyway, so that's funny story on security checks. And then the miracle story, this happened the first
Yes.
year.
Yes.
So we had custom sheets and everything, but we had no idea what we were doing.
Uh-huh.
So we went in the wrong line
Right.
where
Yeah.
we weren't
Customs.
claiming stuff, but we were supposed to claim stuff because we were giving, anyway, it's complicated government stuff. Anyway, so they saw all the trunks. We had like
We had
7.
4 at the
Four?
time.
we
At the time,
we kept
Please.
adding. We kept adding them,
getting
which
more
we'll get to.
trunks. Anyway, so they saw us wheeling all of our stuff and they're like, pulled us aside and everything and wanted the trunks open. And we had taped them and locked
yeah, it
them
was-
because
ugh.
we do not, no offense, if you work at an airport, I hope that you, anyway, we just have bad experiences with people throwing stuff. So we like had them bubble wrapped and everything. And so we had to cut through the tape, pick the lock or whatever. And the security guy was like pretty serious and we were scared that they were going to take the ukuleles away.
Yeah.
But he unwrapped it and we had put decals on the side of the ukulele that's facing up when you play. And it was John 3:16 in Serbian. And so he unwrapped the ukulele, pulled it out of the case and read the verse. And then he slipped it back in and said, "You're good." And after that,
I want to cry now.
I know.
that was, I mean, seriously, we thought they were going to confiscate everything. And after that,
It was only
we saw him the next year and he let us go. He told the director who we were and stuff. And after that, they knew who we were. I don't
Right.
know
So
what
they
we
Well,
just
the
let
next
us
year
through.
after that, in 2014 and the years after that, we took, we had Darko prepare us a letter.
Right. We did
to
not
give those
have
people.
a letter of
We didn't have
recommendation the
anything
first
like
time.
that
Oh,
the
yeah.
first year because we didn't know what we were doing.
No.
right. And that
we're
was
experts now. So.
right. Well, and that was the biggest thing
Funny.
was coming into that first year of the music camp. We had no idea what we were doing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a truly a step of faith, following the Lord's leading on starting this musical journey, and it was
Yeah, for sure.
it was definitely very fulfilling. But one quick thing before we go on to dive into full on into that first music camp. Speaking of travel, so yeah, that
that the
was
year you puked on
yeah,
Mom's
that
pillow?
was the year. So this
We
might be
learned-
TMI,
we learned a
but
lot
hey,
of things.
yeah, this might be TMI, but hey, it's 3D. So anyway, I made the stupid decision to not go to the bathroom for 20 straight hours.
What? He didn't want to use the
And
plane
seriously, I was
bathroom.
yeah.
Using the plain bathroom is
Oh, I
better
use it
after
now.
than what you did.
I use it now.
Oh,
And I
my
also get up and walk around
word.
because, that
Yeah,
just
yeah,
helps.
yeah.
Anyway, so I'm okay until we get, when we start landing during the short flight. So we're landing in Belgrade. And I still to this day, they were all looking at me like, are you okay?
He looked horrible.
I looked really bad. I was tired and I was sick, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Anyway, but I got to the airport. I did okay until we got in. It was me. I think it was Abby,
me.
or maybe it
Mom,
was just
and
me
Miss-
in the
no.
back. Was it just me? Or was it?
I know for sure it was you,
Julie
Mom.
was driving.
It was
and
me
Mom
and
and
Mom.
you were there.
I think Naomi and I were with
Yeah,
you.
I think Abby and I, because I remember.
No, there was only one.
I
But
think
anyway,
maybe it was
I don't
you,
remember. Anyway,
Abby.
and let's just
It was
say
somebody.
He's like, "Hey, Mom, can I have your pillow?"
Yeah.
Blah.
and I wasted Mom's pillow.
Yes.
we left
And
it
you
at
know
the
it's
airport.
no.
In the
We
trash
left it
can.
at the mall
We went
At
because
the mall.
We went
Dad brought it
shopping.
to Carl and was like, "Hey, well, what do we do with this?" And he's like, "Just leave it; they'll pick it up."
Actually, we ate at a KFC in a Serbian mall. That's what we were
Really?
doing.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
remember that?
I
We
remember
did
that.
that both years.
The first
No.
2 years
We did
when
that.
Carl and Julie picked us up, we
Maybe.
stopped at
Yeah.
that mall and ate.
At
Well, we
KFC.
had to. In the first year, we picked up bathroom supplies
Yeah.
in Serbia.
Yes.
Right.
The next year, we learned how to
And the
pack
years
our
after
own.
that, we
Exactly.
packed our
Right,
own.
exactly.
So,
But the cool thing about that is that was the first, because because after we left the mall, I got in with Carl, John Mark Justice, and Dad. And that was the first time I ever slept in the car. I mean, I was out.
I
I
remember
was
Really?
tired.
sleeping too. I
But
was
then,
Wow.
and you know what's so
Impressed.
funny is we got to the camp. We went straight to Camp Merch AFC.
That's right.
And we,
8. Again.
well, y'all ate. I was scared that I wouldn't keep anything down. Well, they had that yogurt.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh, the yogurt
And
drink.
seriously, I
Yogurt
think
drinks
that
are
thing
really good.
cures everything.
It's
I mean, that was
It's
awesome.
like
Yeah, I
kefir,
mean, it
but
just-
more yogurty.
I
By
don't
the
know how to
way,
explain it.
Serbian
It's just-
food
really
is
Is amazing.
amazing.
it is
Yes.
amazing.
It is
So-
so good. Anyway,
First
on to
camp.
the first music camp. I remember arriving there and meeting the Serbian kids that were already there. Well, of course, re-meeting the
Yes.
Atomics.
Yes.
All three
Right.
of their children were a part of the first music camp. And then meeting Daniel Trajkovic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those were the only 4 there at the
Well,
time.
his sister.
Well, Sophia.
His
Oh,
sister
his sister
Sophia.
too.
There were only 5 there.
Trying
Right,
to think.
at the time.
Daniel, his sister Sophia,
We
the 3
arrived-
Atomic kids.
That was
think
it. The
that was
very
it
first
when
night.
we got
The
there
very
the
first
first
night.
night.
So, you're just like, as a 13-year-old, you're just like, you don't know how this is going to work. You're just taking it all in. I remember
yeah.
just
Right.
like taking it all in and being, but starting music camp first day.
How did we have them split up? Because we split them up
One-
into 3 groups.
No, that wasn't that year. The
No,
first year.
we split
No,
them
no,
up
no,
into
we
three
did.
groups.
No, we
But
had
not-
to rotate people. I remember
We
now.
rotated. We split them up among the teachers and we rotated
had a
them.
young
But I don't
group.
remember
I had,
what
like,
was
The
the
first, if
5
I
to
remember
7,
right, the
maybe 5 to
first
8.
we had so they had their morning devotional, whatever kind of stuff in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
beginning. And then we had the morning class, which was together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we
the
split
first,
up in the afternoon.
but then we split them up in the afternoon because we transitioned with Nadja, who was doing the
we
music
kinda
theory
got
and stuff.
The first, we kind of got a look-see into the
How's that nice?
musical
Southern expression.
abilities
right.
of everyone. Because I know I got a very beginner group. It was a young group.
Well, I was
think-
with Jacob and John Mark.
Was
Yes.
it Joshua and I with the
I
young?
think
young
it
group?
was
no,
you.
No.
I was with Mom.
we had.
I was
Okay,
with Mom.
I remember
Who
now.
was
We
it
had
with?
we
I
had the
think you were
super
with Mom
beginner
and
groups.
Joshua.
We had the super beginner group, like that knew nothing before we, before
Yeah.
we started them out. And then we had 2 other groups that were about the same level. One was learning words with Mom,
Yeah. See, I wasn't a part of that
and I
group.
think Joshua.
I was in there. Yes.
And then the other one was with me, Naomi, and John Mark.
Was I by myself?
Learning. No, you shouldn't have been.
you might have been with me.
You might have
and
been
Mom.
with.
I wasn't with Mom. I was with young
It's
people.
fuzzy. We don't
Anyway,
remember
it
all
is
that.
I
all
don't
fuzzy.
remember
I
that.
think
That
I might
first
have
year,
been
it's
told
been
to
a while.
take us. I had like 6 young.
I think
You may have
Abby
been
may
with
have been working
Nadja.
on technique.
I might have been.
Like,
I know
you
I
might
was
have had
with Daniel
Nadja.
a lot.
Yeah.
Daniel Trajkovic, because he knew music too.
Right.
So I think we took aside the young ones,
That
Right.
needed
That
help with
needed
their
help. I think
you're right.
fingers and stuff.
and that we're not learning all the songs as fast. So we wanted the others to be able to learn
Right.
all the
See,
songs.
I taught the music part,
yes.
Right.
and
So-
Mama did the
yeah, that's what
the
happened. We're
words.
trying to remember.
And then
as
you
we
had
go.
the real like
Little
base level
Yes.
beginner.
Because we weren't only
So I
teaching
must
the
have been
music,
by
but
myself.
English
Wow.
a little bit too.
I think you were, Abby. I can't
Wow.
remember exactly, but I think you were because I remember having Naomi and John Mark and Julie. Julie was our translator.
Right.
Yes.
Anyway,
I don't remember. It's been so
I have to
long.
look at
But
pictures.
Anyway,
I need to do
but
my
that's
homework.
how we did it originally. Was
Right.
Yeah.
the beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Well, not
Like-
really advanced.
That did the
Well,
beginner,
not-
intermediate, advanced didn't start till 2015, which
Well,
we'll
that's
get to.
Probably
in-
more like beginner and
an hour.
intermediate-ish.
Well, anyway, so I guess I want to ask, as far as like what is one memory that sticks out from that first music camp?
Alrighty, who wants to start? I need to think about it.
There's
Man,
several.
There's a lot.
There is several.
I would say this may not be like a specific memory,
Right.
but just the feeling, this was our first mission trip. We'd never done anything like this before. We'd never taught music before. We'd been taught music, but we'd never taught music,
Right.
if that makes sense. And we're all young, and just our heart we love music. It's what we do. It's our life. So getting to share that love with other kids around our age that were loving it too was really cool.
Right.
And just that feeling of fulfillment and just passing it on, so to speak, passing on music and that universal language, and just learning a new culture, because
Right.
we immediately started trying to learn the language, and
Yeah.
just so we
Naomi
could hang
and I
out with,
especially.
we just wanted to hang out with the kids. We
Yeah.
taught them kickball, we did the exercise and dance. We were
started
in
the American
everything.
Night. Remember? Did we do the American Night the first year?
No,
We
2014.
did.
I think
we
that was
did-
2014
No, that was
because
the
we were
second
there
year.
4th
But we
of
did.
July.
We did have that still finale night. I mean, they
Yes.
always do
Yeah.
have that
Right.
big, and we having the kids get up. But we'll get there.
Well,
Right.
I think one memory, two memories real quick. At that time, I was playing Orange Blossom Special on the fiddle.
my
Jamark
goodness.
and I
Right.
were
Yes.
kind of splitting up the fiddle parts, and Daniel Trajkovic was a violinist, so he knew all the classical stuff, but he was like starstruck with the Orange Blossom Special.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, will you teach me this? Will you teach me this? And so that was one memory I have. And
That's
of
pretty
course,
cool.
I'm like, well, I do it like this. And like, you've never been in that teaching position. And then the second memory I had was Lazar was one of the younger students that I
Yeah.
took aside. And he, at that camp, was when he accepted and
Right.
wanted to sit down with one of the Serbian teachers there. And, I don't know where he is spiritually now, but I hope and pray that those seeds that were planted at that first camp continue to grow in his
Yeah.
heart.
I recently
so-
reconnected with him on
That
Facebook,
is
which
so
is super cool. He
cool.
sent me a friend request. I'm like, hey, I know you.
He was the oldest of six.
6, and they could not afford to send more than one child
So
to
they only-
camp,
yeah.
so they rotated years. So we never got to see him again
And I don't
because
think we ever met any of his.
we never saw
family.
any of his siblings. But that just, another thing was our eyes were open to a lot of just, it wasn't culture shock because mom has done an amazing job
Yeah.
training us,
Yeah.
but just that sense of fully understanding what real poverty looks like.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
People just being around kids who truly have no idea who God is,
Yeah.
Right.
and just wrapping your mind around that, and like that feeling of making a difference.
Yes. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and the getting to experience true hospitality.
Right.
Mm,
There are
yes.
very
Yes.
few times here in the States that we've gone to someone's house and been treated the same way that we were treated over there. I can
Right.
only
It's
I
crazy.
can count on one hand
Right.
Right.
the times since we've started as a band that a family has opened their home in such a way.
Well, and I
And
think it's
so
that I don't-
they would go out of their way to provide
Right.
everything we could possibly want or need. I mean, to the point of being willing to go on bread and water for the next couple weeks so that they could show hospitality.
Right.
Wow.
right. And I think it's just that it's a lack of. It's not so common anymore here in the States.
Unfortunately.
Right.
And we honestly have not been invited into people's homes as much in that manner.
Right, right. I
like
get
you
that.
go play at a church and someone from the church is like, well, come stay at my home.
Right.
That has
I'll
been very
feed you
few.
and all that cool stuff.
But
yeah.
those times that we've had that experience here in the States, it's just, I remember them being so hospitable and stuff like that. I just don't think it's something we practice as much anymore, especially as the church. And I think that's sad
Mhm.
Right.
is that,
It's a
we
command
were
is it in
called
Romans?
to share and
Or somewhere else.
be
Romans 12.
hospitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be hospitable.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To show
What's your
hospitality.
second one?
Well, that was my two, but I just remembered one. But I'm going to let Jacob and Joshua share. And if they don't share, I'll come back to
Abby will be back.
Well,
I'll be
what I
back.
was going to say was number one, just the what's the word? The not connection, but that combination of American culture meeting um Serbian culture. I mean,
Yeah.
Serbia's not like Africa different. You know what I'm saying? It's not,
No.
they're, it's not, that totally different of a culture from America, but there are some differences. And the biggest, of course, is language and all that kind of stuff. But just, just that combination, I think that's what made that camp so special, is us being willing to learn and to connect with them through learning their culture, all that kind of stuff. But then them also willing to, try some American things and stuff. It was a good combination there. But one story that was really cool from that first year was there was a young girl. She's now a young lady. She's 19, I think now.
Yeah.
But she came to all the music camps that we did over there. Well, not all of them. She didn't come
Not
to the
the show.
kids. When
Yeah.
we broke it into kids and teens, she came to all the teen camps. Anyway,
But she's one of 3 or 4
yes.
that came
Three.
every year.
Three that came every year. She her name was Natasha. She, really loved the camp and enjoyed the music and enjoyed learning and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that it didn't register in her mind was that we were giving the ukulele
Right.
Yeah.
to her, that
Right.
it was a gift. And, I don't know how the conversation brought up, but she brought it to one of the leaders of the camp.
If I remember, Lydia, Darko's wife,
Mhm.
was talking to her and kind of, just in general conversation. And I think Natasha asked her about it. And she said, no, that's yours, as in yours.
Yeah.
And she broke down crying.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, she came from a poor family.
Right. A lot of those kids
And
did.
Just the realization that this was hers to keep,
Yeah.
to, for however long she wanted to keep it I think it just hit home for her.
Yeah.
And that was the one I was going to that was
I
my
was thinking
third
it
Was
one.
that
you
one?
mentioned
Okay.
Lazar, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh, we
yeah.
have to
Anyway,
talk about
it
Natasha
just-
too.
I guess that realization hit for you to realize the impact you're having, just giving somebody a gift
Right.
and teaching them a gift like the ukulele and teaching them how to play it and use it, and all of that, teaching them about God and glorifying him and how we glorify him through music. And
Right.
Right.
anyway, it was just really
Well,
beautiful.
with that, Lydia was able to share
Exactly.
Right.
the gospel.
Exactly.
It was a
Right.
great
Which
opportunity
is our
to share
whole
the
goal.
gospel.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. And so just that first camp, I mean, I remember when, all the kids left and everything. I mean, it was, you just
It was
felt,
sad.
We cried
so
so
sad.
hard
you
the
just
last
felt
night.
it.
I know.
Just
I
the
know.
special connection there.
Right.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, even the teachers that were at the camp were just amazed at just the response and just,
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. So
One of the coolest things about meeting Darko is that when he recognized that we were a band, he wanted us to play
Yeah.
as a
Right.
band
Right.
overseas.
Yeah.
So we went to after we finished with the camp, we went to Erdeviek.
No, Kraljevo
Did we do
Kraljevo
Kraljevo
first.
first?
Yeah, we did
Kraljevo was
Kraljevo
first.
first.
Sorry, I couldn't remember.
It's okay.
Anyway, a friend of Darko's, Jovica Getson,
Yes.
that is former biker, works with Soldiers for Jesus Motorcycle Club or something
Well,
like
he
that.
still bikes.
Well, when I say former biker, I mean his lifestyle.
Right.
But now he's a reformed biker.
Biker.
wow.
Biker, that's-
But anyway,
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, cool guy.
Yes.
Really cool guy. Anyway, he wanted us to come play in the city center. Now, in Serbia, most of your larger towns, the center is actually a center, as in a big circle. with some statue that nobody remembers who it is in the middle.
Sad.
With fountain or something like it is sad with something like that, and then at the points of the compass
Yes.
at a cross, you'll have these wide what they call the walking street, and they'll go out for about 1.5 miles out
Right.
from the city center, where there's no cars or anything.
Yep.
You're walking, and there's apartment complexes, shops, cafes,
Just
restaurants. I mean, it's really cool.
Side note, I loved how Serbia's cities and
Oh,
towns were
yes.
set up.
Right.
I know.
It was just so simple, and you have that realization that they're still lost, but
Mhm.
just I don't know. It's something
People were
like-
out. I mean,
walking, enjoying each
Yeah.
other's company, and you're like
9 or 10 o'clock
oh,
at night,
wow,
everybody's
this
off
is a
from work.
thing.
I mean, the buildings
21st
would
century.
empty, and
Yeah.
everybody would be out walking, looking for a friend and a good
Yeah.
time and
exactly.
that kind of thing. It was really cool. So
Anyway,
anyway,
so we
one of
played-
he arranged with a cafe owner in the city center who had a stage
Mm-hmm.
that so that we could play. And that's the concert where you play the tenor
That's-
banjo as a bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
which
Fun times.
was interesting. But
Yeah.
it was cool. That was really cool to play that first concert for people who couldn't understand what we were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Jovica acted as our translator. One funny story: back then we played a lot of gospel music
Right.
Right.
and hymns
Like
and
hymns.
stuff, like hymns out of
Yes,
the hymn
we
book.
still play gospel. That sounds like that sounds
Okay.
terrible.
Okay,
Old
play-
I'm
hymns.
sorry, old hymns from the
Hymns.
hymn book.
Our gospel songs were more hymns, back
Right.
then.
Yes.
Now we're writing our own stuff.
Yes.
But anyway, one of the
Say it
songs
right.
one of the hymns we played was "Are You Washed in the Blood?"
Yes.
And when because Mom was our MC at the time, Mom announced that
Right.
we were going to play that song, and Jovica looked at her like a deer caught in the headlights. Because the Serbian people who are not evangelical believers are very superstitious.
Right.
Yes.
And very literal.
And very literal. So, washed in the blood, we understand what that means in English,
Exactly.
but in Serbia, that sounds like a cult, like an
Yes.
occult
But
thing.
Jovica
So he translated it, what are you going to do with Jesus or something like that.
Yeah,
Something
something
he
like that.
translated
He
it
got
very
the
well.
meaning of
exactly.
the
Right.
the title, but
I'll
not
No
the
mention
literal
of blood.
translation.
Oh my goodness.
He was like, they will not get that. So it really caused Mom to think how we as Christians, we use so much Christianese or
Right.
biblical language that
Christianese.
other people are looking at
Or
us
cultural.
going,
Ooh, yeah.
Or cultural
yeah,
terms.
like,
American-
what are
Other
you
people
talking
don't
about?
get.
The American church
Right.
terms.
So
that
it
we-
just really really started us on a journey of really just not going liberal or anything, nothing like that. We've still held to our high values and stuff, but learning to communicate them in a way that other people will understand. Just like
Exactly.
Right.
Jesus did with his parables. In that
Exactly.
time, he was taking everyday life and making a life lesson out of it where other people will understand. Well, we don't live BC
Some
anymore.
people don't live
So
like that anymore.
it
yeah.
was just really cool and a good lesson that prepared us for the years to come on just how to present the gospel and how to explain why we do what we do, what this means. It was just a really good lesson that we needed to
Yeah.
learn.
Right.
Exactly.
Anyway, and that leads into our last concert. We only had
Yes.
two
Yes.
concerts
We only
in
had two that year.
2013, and we went to a church in Erdevik, which actually two or more of the campers.
We had
At least two?
well, that first year there were only Yvonne and Martin.
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 Because
Martin.
I says E in Serbian.
Right.
Anyway,
Anyway, so they were brothers,
Yes.
weren't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
they were.
brothers, and they lived in Erdevik. But also Lydia was from Erdevik.
Yes.
That was her,
Her
hometown.
family,
Her,
yeah.
so
we got to meet
played-
her parents and
Yeah.
such.
Mhm.
We played at the church in Erdevik, and again, just another experience of being in a church, a Serbian church, and just seeing
Yeah,
how
you think there are traditional churches over here. This was a church where the women sat on one side and the men sat on
yes,
the other.
you,
Right.
you found that a lot in Serbia and even more in Romania.
Yes.
Yes.
even more in Romania.
And this was also a Slovakian church. So we learned a little bit more of the culture of Serbia. Just that area of Serbia had a lot of
Right.
Slovakians. So we were hearing another language
Yeah.
besides Serbian. And it was just really cool. They took great care of us. We had a
Oh,
meal,
yeah.
a
Amazing.
fellowship
Yes.
after. It was just,
just
it
very
was very
sweet.
yes,
and
spirit feeding,
yes,
inspiring, because we were fellowshipping with other Christians, but in different languages,
Yeah.
or them trying to speak English and us trying to speak Serbian.
The depth of, you just saw the depth of their relationship with Christ. And
Right.
I think that is just one of those experiences that you had over and over going there.
Right.
Right.
Was getting to see something other. I mean, the American church, I'm not saying every American church is this way, but as a whole, we've watered down a lot of stuff, I believe.
and America's-
and,
Sorry.
we've just, I think we've lost some values, such as hospitality, such as simplicity. I think,
right.
I just think we've got caught up in the culture sometimes, and
Well,
what
and America
the world
is so
doing.
large.
Right.
Talking about cultural things.
Right.
America is so large, and our cultures are very similar across the regions. I mean, they're a little bit different in different places. I get it. But we don't really. Okay, there are two cultural differences in church that would be really good for American Christians to get a part of, and that is the darker skinned church community
Right.
and the Hispanic church community.
Right.
That would be similar to what we experienced
Right.
in Serbia, is ministering and fellowshipping alongside believers that come from a different cultural background.
Right.
Yes.
And still getting that same sense of fellowship and
Yes.
spirit, regardless of the cultural differences between
Exactly.
everyone.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the true.
So that was the first year.
Anyway,
Yeah.
first
Bond of
year.
unity.
Okay, and then
Got
on the way
back,
back,
and
no,
we'll-
first we have to tell
Well-
another puking story.
Oh my word!
Poor
Oh,
Justice.
Justice.
So we
Oh, my
learned
word.
to be very picky about what plain food to eat. And actually, the last time I went overseas with Jacob in early 2020, I did not eat on the plane. Best choice ever. Ate on the way back. Worst choice ever.
The big
But
plane
anyway,
was okay.
It's okay.
The short
plane
flight,
is the worst.
Don't
Don't
do it.
eat it.
Anyway,
Don't do
so
it.
they gave
Don't
us
eat
some
it.
kind of pudding for breakfast.
It was yogurtish.
It was yogurt.
Pudding, something. I got more pudding stuff. Anyway, it was different for every person. And we had these bright yellow polos on. And John Mark popped his open and got blueberry all over. So it was like green in the middle of his
So
shirt.
it looked like somebody threw up on him.
Yes,
My word.
exactly. And then Justice's pudding was chocolate. And he's not usually a big chocolate eater. He's better now, but back then he really didn't like chocolate. But
This
he
may
ate
have
it
been
because he
why.
was hungry. So he ate it. And then on the long flight, there was chocolate cake and a piece of chocolate. Just a lot of rich stuff. And he ate all his food. And then he got sick for some reason. Something, I don't know. I believe it was all the chocolate he was eating.
He's had it happen even recently where he's
Yeah,
eaten a lot of chocolate, and it's just,
anyway. So we're
anyway.
standing in the customs line, and this is before, for those of you, if you've ever been to the Houston, the Intercontinental is where we were.
Bush Intercontinental.
Yeah, airport. They've installed these mobile custom things where you can scan your passport, get your picture taken, and then just hand it to someone and they check it. Well, 2013, they didn't have that. 2014, they did. 2013, they didn't. So we were standing in line waiting to get our passport scanned and stuff.
And waiting.
And all of a sudden, he just
throws up.
right in the middle of the
everything
line.
So
came
we're
out
like
right on
exhausted.
and they bring out the caution cones and everything.
just
and we're just like, oh
yeah,
my word.
we're
We're just ready to go to
we're
bed.
just, we're
Anyway,
just ready to get
So
home.
fun times.
Anyway,
And we crashed when we
Bye.
got home.
Well,
crashed.
and by the way, that was the first.
Was that the year that we played the day after?
That what?
That's the only time that we've played the day
Yes,
after.
Daddy
Oh,
booked us
yes.
a concert the day after, and
That
we were
was
like,
stupid.
oh,
Dad told us
no.
on the way
Plus-
back home from that, he's like, I'm never doing that to y'all
Yes.
again.
Plus, that was the worst. That was that's top 10 in the
The
worst
worst venues.
concerts we have ever
It
played
was-
for. Not that, I mean, we were tired,
The people
but,
weren't bad.
and the people were okay.
our
but our
MC
MC
was drunk.
Yeah,
He
Lord. He was 3 sheets
We
to
have
the
nothing
wind.
against
Anyway.
drinking or alcohol or anything.
No.
But he'd had a little too much. And it was
Yeah.
just really
He called
awkward.
us the Cowell family.
Yes,
Yeah.
or something like that.
I didn't realize it till afterwards. And
Mom
they were
didn't
like,
tell us till after.
Anyway, and I
There
was
was
like,
there's
oh,
another
okay, 'cause
bluegrass
I was like,
band
this guy's a
friends of
little
ours that
weird.
were on stage, and he actually got to the point where he got up on stage in the middle of their set.
Yeah,
and
he
interrupted
crashed
them.
their concert. Anyway,
Oh, it was with Sabine Riverbend.
Yeah.
yes. Anyway, so
Oh,
we
wow.
learned
Anyway,
never to perform
do
the
that
day
again.
after you come back. Always give yourself a
Exactly.
few days, which didn't happen 1 year, but we'll get to that later.
Anyway,
in part 2, so come back.
2014.
Yes.
So we were already wanting on the way back. We're already wanting.
Yes, we
wanted
get
We
home.
cried
When
for
are
a
we
week.
leaving again? No, I was kidding.
We cried for a week
We-
afterwards.
It was that first experience, and you're like, I want to do that again.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
We'd never spent so much in-depth spiritual time with
Yeah.
other people our age. We had
Exactly.
friends. I'm not saying that we were the weird homeschoolers that had no friends. We had friends, but we
That's
just
Who
that
were also homeschoolers.
just that
I'm kidding.
experience. It was just so deep and
Yeah.
like because
Yeah.
we were with them 24/7. Well, except bedtime.
It's called total immersion.
Exactly. We were
Exactly.
full. We were all in, and then pulling out of that and going, okay, I'm ready to do that
you're
again.
just
Oh,
like-
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so 2014,
Yes.
we still did just one camp.
That's
did
right,
we
do
did
one
two
camp.
camps?
When they,
Sorry, I'm
I'm
reading.
trying to remember
She's
when
reading
they
our
told us.
outline.
We did make
have an
notes.
outline. Anyway,
I
well,
mean,
they
yeah,
always
we should
had
have more detailed
we
notes.
we only did one camp that year. They wanted us back. We wanted to go back.
Yes.
And so we
God provided the
prayed.
funds.
We were always like, if God provides the funds,
We will go.
We will go.
Yes.
Exactly.
And He provided big time for us.
Yes.
Yes.
I remember a lot of people giving, a lot of people sharing. Hey, we want to help you guys do this.
Mhm.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So right before, I want to say like the month before, we called Darko to see how everything's going, and he
Yeah.
said camp's full, and we had to turn 20 kids away.
Yep.
The camp
Yeah.
held about 40 some odd kids
Yes.
at the time.
This was
Yeah.
before they
This was
expanded.
before all the expansion and stuff. If you follow Camp Merch FC on social media, they've expanded quite a bit since then.
Yes. Thanks
But,
to Carl.
But this was back when they were still trying to
We
figure things
remember
out.
the camp in there early.
Yeah.
Yes. We're
They
like,
were
that
still-
wasn't there and that wasn't there.
They were still cleaning things up
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
back
I
then.
actually stayed in like a little.
room that's
I
no
know.
longer there anymore.
That's no longer. Well,
Well,
It
it's
is, but
there,
it's used to
but
something else.
it's
part
used to
of-
something else, but
it's
like
like
there
a
wasn't
coffee
any air
break room?
conditioning in that room. I don't
No,
know.
I
but
don't
we
remember.
didn't need it.
We
just
didn't
saying.
need it. It was nice and cool at night.
Yeah,
Yes.
the temperature actually dropped. Now, we were Texans still at that
We
point.
loved it.
Oh, I loved it.
And I think I've mentioned this before. In Texas, in the summertime, the temperature doesn't change when the sun
Right.
goes down. When we
Yeah.
got over to Serbia for the first time, we were like, oh, it actually
Well-
drops
well,
like
now we're
30
used to
degrees
it.
when the sun goes
We're
down.
used to it in Tennessee too, so it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is nice.
But anyway, so second camp, he had to turn kids away.
yes, yes.
And we had 40 kids,
38.
30. Mr. Exacto Knife.
Thank
over
you.
there.
What?
Gosh.
Come on.
No,
No,
he's
I hear
actually
you.
right. But
And I
anyway.
think,
I don't remember.
did we
the
have,
number.
I'm trying to remember who all was, Nadja was there again.
teaching music theory.
Teaching music theory.
Yes.
Julie and Carl were there helping
Darko
us.
and Lydia.
Darko and Lydia.
Was that our first
The-
year with William and
I
Tabitha?
think it was.
Yes.
William
Yes.
and Tabitha
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Valentini.
Yes,
I
they
remember
are
that.
musical, so that was
Yes.
really cool. They loved our music, and we loved listening to their worship stuff. So that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
So the music camp got bigger, got deeper. You know, we had fun like songs that would play at like
Oh,
snack
yeah.
time and
Oh, I
then
remember
yeah, I
that.
remember that.
That was awesome.
gathering everybody to
like the call to food. The call.
Yes.
you know-
Yes.
I don't know if y'all have ever
Food,
seen Ice
glorious
Age.
Yes, but it
Yes.
was.
If
so
y'all have
good.
ever
Ice Age
seen
2.
Ice Age 2,
Tron.
isn't it Ice Age 2, The
Tron.
Meltdown?
Yes.
Where the vultures are singing the food song or whatever.
Yes.
That was the call
that
to
was
food
the
in Serbian,
call
of course.
To,
Yeah, it was
um,
fun.
It was awesome. William,
so it was really cool. Very creative.
just to introduce
in
him a
that.
little bit, because we've talked a little bit about
Yeah.
Darko. We worked with William 3 years,
I
3 or
want to say
4?
4.
Maybe 4.
we
Between
worked
14
with
to
him
15,
up to
2016. I want to say
2018.
2017.
Okay, so we worked with him and Tabitha 4 years, and he's very creative
2018
He
person.
went there in 2018.
Yeah, really good on the tech side and music. Tabitha has a beautiful voice, and they had 2 daughters. Now they have 3.
Yeah.
Matea, Lena, and Nora is the baby.
Yes.
Well, she's
She's not-
actually
she-
2 now. That's crazy. 2 or
No.
3.
Mm-mm. She'll be 4.
Oh my.
Okay,
Oh,
she's
Lord.
3 right now.
Yes.
Chill. Okay, so it was really cool to work with him. His idea was the one about the song. So just introducing a lot of new stuff and
Right.
creative ways, just fun.
Yeah.
And I must say,
Making music camp
the
special.
graphic design of the camp materials. Now, we
Yes.
brought our own materials, books and ukuleles and,
Mhm.
and such, but he did all the other materials,
Yes,
like the
very
workbooks and the
talented.
quiet time and the
well,
all
we
that stuff.
loved to
There was
be
a major
part.
upgrade
Yes.
in 2014 in the graphics and all that
Yes.
stuff.
We loved being a part of the teaching and everything. So we would have translators telling us, what they're talking about and
Right.
stuff like that. So we just loved being fully a part of the camp
Right.
in as many activities as we could be a part
Even
of.
cleaning restrooms.
Even
y'all.
cleaning restrooms and kitchen, and
Doing
we
dishes.
just wanted to build relationships, be with those kids, and just fully immerse ourselves in the camp.
Right.
And they were
that's,
still Camp Merch FC and CEF and all that. They were still in a building phase as far as
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
because in a few years, and we'll get to that, they developed a volunteer corps and
Yeah.
where they would do all that work.
Yes.
But in the first 3 years, our family
Yeah.
was a
Yes.
major part of everything.
Yes. Was that the first year with Donnie or?
No,
No,
that
2019
was
Not
next
yet.
year.
was.
We will hold on,
I-
Donnie.
We'll get there.
But that
Well, the
was
one
Dory's
other-
first
That
year.
was Dory's first year.
Jovica,
Doriana
who we
Getson.
mentioned in 2013, his daughter showed up for camp that year. So that was fun.
Well, also Snezhina.
Yes. Snezha,
Yes.
Oh,
that was her
Martina
that's
first year with
right.
us.
were also volunteers that year. I think Katerina? Yes.
The older
The older
Kate.
lady? Yes.
Yes.
She
The
was
older
there.
lady.
Old
yes.
lady.
Oh, she was so
Joshua,
sweet.
be-
I didn't say old lady. I
Oh,
said older lady.
I thought I heard
The
old
older
lady.
lady Katja.
We try
Yeah.
not to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
And then the
first,
coach-
Also, that was Abigail and Darcy's first year.
No,
No,
that was
they were
2015
2015 as well.
See,
We
it
will-
all
We
comes
mixed years.
together.
I know.
It all
right.
comes
second
back.
camp though,
Okay.
any
That was
memories from the
Drogon's first
second
year though,
camp
as
Yes.
cook.
that
She's awesome.
we
She
want to
is
mention?
Something else.
Any second camp memories that we want to
Well,
mention?
It was just really cool to be back. We had that year we had almost half returning from the year before, so like 10. I'm not saying they stayed
Probably
every
a little
year,
more.
but
I think a
little
from
bit.
2013 we had like 10-ish.
I want to say something like
About half.
I hate to say that 2013 and 2014 are a little fuzzy
They're very
for me.
blurry. Anyway,
it's okay.
I think we had about half from the previous year come
Yeah.
back.
Right.
So, just getting to hang with them again, catching up after a year,
Yeah.
and that
Meeting
was
new-
meeting new kids. But I just remember, just every year I felt more and more at home. Like
Yeah.
this is what I was created to do, and I
Yeah.
loved it. And we
Right.
really got into also, just talking more with the kids, if that makes sense, because
Yeah.
we had matured a year. See, the first year I remember we just played a lot, because everyone was under the age of 13, so
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
This next year we had older, up to
We had up to
6
15 or 16, I think.
15
this
or
time.
16. We had a few older kids, and we were older a year. So I remember a lot more conversations. Again, not details, but I just remember talking more, whether in a break or during a meal or late at night.
Well, one
before
of the
bed.
things, and I think it was Lydia that told Mom this the second year, was that they were surprised that we decided to come back,
Right.
and we wanted to come back with the same amount of fervor and enthusiasm. They weren't used to that
Yeah.
from Americans, unfortunately. And I don't mean to offend anyone who's ever gone on a mission trip,
Right.
but the typical American that goes on a mission trip, it's a bucket list item
Yeah.
that they'll never do again.
Right.
They
or a
just go-
vacation.
Or a vacation. They just go to the same spot their church has been going every year for I don't know how long. Paint the school. I mean, if you've seen the John Christ video, it's hilarious because it's true.
Right.
You
Right.
go paint some orphanage in Africa. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't
Yeah,
need to be
yeah.
done, but it's a photo op. It's a vacation. It's not service. It's
Yeah.
not
Right.
mission
Yeah.
work.
But that's
and
also
so they were
been-
Service
when we
is dirty
did that.
work.
It is. It is.
Right.
And when we came back the next year and the year after that and the year after that, doing
Yeah.
the same things with the same enthusiasm, with the same willingness and desire to work, they weren't used to that.
Well,
out
it
of
not
got
Americans.
them to accept us more. And we're not
Exactly.
saying that everyone who goes on a mission trip has that attitude, but
No,
sometimes that
I don't wanna say
attitude
that.
has actually been more pushed on people. Like, this is just what a mission trip is. And then
Yeah.
some people get it when they get there. Like, no, I want to do more. But some
Right.
people, they just do it because that's what everyone else
Well,
is
I
doing.
think it's a good heart examiner. You know, if
Yeah.
you're interested in going on a mission trip, really examine the why of
Right.
why you want to do it. And if it's to make yourself feel good,
Right.
make
Right.
yourself look good,
Well,
just
yeah.
be mindful that anything we do, you know, you can stay home and be a servant and serve God.
Right.
So let's not paint that, oh, these people go overseas, so they're doing
Right.
more for God than I am by just staying at
No,
home.
no,
And,
no.
you know, that was always our heart, that we just wanted to
right.
just really do whatever needed to be done.
Yeah.
The other thing is that unfortunately that attitude is not how do I say it? That attitude is encouraged by the way that they treat Americans in
Right.
Eastern Europe.
Right.
They treat them very royally, very
Right.
richly. Like
well, they used to hate
should-
us, so I guess it's a step up. Because
But
one thing we
instead
did
of,
learn was about, you know, from the American missionaries we would spend a lot of time with, Carl and Julie Banner, was that, you know, when they first arrived in the early 2000s,
yeah,
Serbians hated Americans.
Yeah.
very true.
Because Serbians have a good memory for the most part, especially the older
They
generation.
have a long memory.
They have a long memory. And in World War II, the Serbians took care of the Ally flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Pilots.
Flyer pilots. Abby flyers.
Well,
Sorry,
Well, they
guys.
fly, so
Pilots
They were called flyers.
that
too.
would be flying over Serbia. And Serbian, a lot of them were farmers.
Mhm.
And so they would clear their hayfield and their cows off their pasture so that the pilots could land during the night. And then in the morning, they would put all the hay bales, hay stacks. It was
Yeah,
hay
we're not
stacks.
talking about hay
Yeah.
bales. We're talking about a stack 10 foot high, 6 foot
They
wide.
would
Yeah.
put all the haystacks in the cow, you know, so just hiding them and taking care
Yeah.
of them. Anyway,
and plane
all their
crashes too.
ex-
If
Yeah.
you want a great book to read, for those of you who love history, The Forgotten 500, it tells the whole true story of what they did for the Air Forces, not just Americans, but British, any Allied forces.
any allied forces.
They took care of, and it was it was the largest rescue mission of its kind, and
Yeah.
it is not heard about in the history books. So
Anyway.
go find the book, The Forgotten 500. It's really good.
Anyway,
So,
and so during when Bosnia and Serbia,
Yeah, and that whole
the
thing.
The NATO forces.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia was splitting up and
Yeah,
stuff.
we took the
we-
other side.
We took the side with the Muslims, and Serbians also hate Muslims.
Yeah, because they
So,
spent 500 years
well,
under Turkish oppression.
They
Yes.
felt betrayed, and so
Right.
just hearing all those stories, and fully realizing, the stigma Americans have. We're either hated or
loved.
not trusted, or we're treated like
Kings.
perfect. Like
Yeah.
America is perfect, and like they have it all together, and the land
The
of
Lots
TV
of
shows
money
and
and-
everything.
Anyway, and
Anyway.
so you're like, well, wait, we're just human too. We're just people here.
Right.
We may live
So
in a
we had
different
to,
country. but
the first couple of years, we had to
Earn some
insist.
trust.
break
gently.
break the
And,
stigma.
I mean,
we had a
right.
goal to break the stigma.
Right.
and
Yes,
but
show,
we do that a
had
lot.
to, there were a few things I remember Mama insisting that no, let us, my kids should be
We
doing
will
this.
clean
Yeah.
We will
bathrooms.
clean
We
bathrooms.
will wash dishes.
We will wash dishes.
yeah.
We will help you along.
Yeah.
We will work alongside you. We want
because
to.
they didn't want us to do the
and-
dirty
yeah.
work, and we're like,
That's
we clean
why-
bathrooms in America.
That's
Yeah.
why we're
Believe
here.
it or not.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that second camp was a real eye opener for them. That wow, these guys are serious,
Exactly.
and it was a further eye opening for us, if that makes sense, to what we wanted to do with this.
Right.
That we enjoyed
because
this
we
immensely.
also, I think Joshua has something to say, but I want to say something really quick. Since we weren't expecting, I don't know what we were expecting, but we were not expecting returning campers. So the returning campers, most of them had already learned all 6 songs that we had. We hadn't updated our book at all. We just left it the same because we weren't expecting anything. So we got a little creative, not as creative as the next year, which we'll get into later, but we had to find them a couple more advanced songs
Right.
just to give them something new to learn. So that taught us that, okay, these kids are going to come back. They're interested in learning music, learning about the ukulele. So that
Right.
inspired us to update our book, which we'll get into more in 2015.
Yes.
Right.
So
but
Josh,
I think the best thing that happened that second year was, and I'm trying to remember who came up with the idea because it's happened every single music camp that we've done. I don't know if it's every year, but the hot dogs.
I
American
think
Night.
that
I
was a
think
combination
William
of
had-
William and Mom.
Okay.
Something
because
like
I knew
because
William
we were, was
had
that year we were
a
there
part
over
in
4th
it.
of July?
Mm-mm. That was the next year.
Okay.
Or the year after that.
It was
But we still
2016,
wanted
but-
an
Oh.
American night, and it was always Friday because Saturday was the last night, right?
Which was, it was the
Yes.
finale.
Saturday night was the finale night. The American night was actually,
Friday night.
or
So Friday
no, it was
night-
Friday night.
yeah.
Friday night was finale night. So usually it was actually Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
There were a
Wednesday.
couple of
Yeah,
there were a couple
some-
of
I
times
thought
we
it was
moved it,
Thursday.
but it was Wednesday in the middle of the week.
Yes.
Was kind of what we wanted to do.
Daddy grilled hot dogs.
Dad grilled hot dogs, which Dad's
And we ate ice cream.
amazing at grilling and
Did we
stuff.
have
So
ice
that
cream
was
too?
A
that was
couple of
something
Riviera's
that Dad.
ice cream
is
that was
amazing.
It's not keto, but
Are
it's
y'all
amazing.
done?
Yes.
That was sorry.
Your ice cream actually tastes very similar because it's
It
so
does.
creamy.
Yeah.
Because they use cream over there over
Well,
milk.
remember actually,
Why use milk?
was it? Did we do s'mores
good
the
stuff.
first?
We did.
At 2014.
We
Okay.
we
did.
did make s'mores.
And Mom
It
and
was
and
s'mores. Nice.
Mom and Julie made chocolate chip
We had
cookies
ice
for
cream
snack
for
that year.
snack.
Remember, I almost ate like half or a fourth of a container of ice cream one time.
Mom,
Anyway,
Mom,
She
and,
still
Sorry.
does that actually. That's good.
Mom and Julie made chocolate chip cookies.
Yes, I
Right.
remember
for
that.
snack. Dad grilled hot dogs,
Oh.
which Dad was like something
Not
I'm
making
good
me
at.
hungry.
Yes.
Daddy did a lot of manual
Dad did a
labor.
lot of.
The
Dad
manual
was
stuff.
working in Justice too before he got into the teaching.
Teaching.
Later in later years, but in the early years, Dad in Justice, while the rest of us were teaching music, Dad would help Carl with whatever
With
needed
whatever
to be done.
project
I
he was
mean,
working on.
dirt
yeah.
work,
Yeah.
construction work, whatever Dad could find it, because this is the way Dad is.
Right.
He's
not
like, let me find
musical."
something to do.
Right.
He's not musical, so he's
So,
like,
yeah.
but he doesn't like sitting around doing nothing either.
Yes.
No.
Our dad is a hard worker and a
He'd
servant
wash
at
our
heart.
laundry.
So,
He'd do the laundry too.
yeah.
Yeah,
So he would
exactly.
find
Yeah,
other
that
little
was greatly
things to do.
appreciated.
Yes.
Anyway.
So anyway, when we presented the hot dog idea, he's like, "I'll do that because I'm good at it." And all
Yes.
that. And we
'Cause I'm
also
good
did
at it?
well, but he enjoys it. you know,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he had time.
So that
Anyway.
was the
S'mores.
first time that something like that.
Yeah.
Plus, with the s'mores, they don't have marshmallows.
No.
in
no,
Serbia.
they had to go to was it Romania to get them?
I
they,
think
something like that.
something
there were
like
some.
that.
They somehow got them there, and all the kids were like, "What is this?"
Yes.
And then the chocolate chip cookies, all that. But funny thing was, earlier that day during the sports games and whatnot, mom has always made us homemade Gatorade.
Oh, I remember.
And-
I remember this.
This was
Do you remember this?
awesome.
I remember
Yes,
this.
we never did that
So
again.
anyway, so she decided to make it for the kids. And
Oh, they didn't like
and
it.
They did
bec-
not like
well,
it. They
because
tried.
they
They
have
tried to be
something-
nice.
They have
but
something with, because in Gatorade, mom puts salt. Not a lot, but to
Yeah,
help
but
with.
it's good for you.
Right. That's part of the
We do it all
Gatorade,
the
the
time,
minerals, all
sugar.
that.
Right.
And something with that just
There was
did
the
not-
salt
They
and the
did not
sugar and
like
all
it.
that
It was
stuff.
hilarious.
they were
Like
they
it.
were not rude, but some of them politely poured their drinks down the sink.
Yes.
Some of them
But
spit it
anyway,
out.
politely
so-
Spit
hit
it
it
out.
and spit it out.
right. So that, but also we did a lot of introduction with America and
American
different
sports.
stuff,
We played
right?
kickball. That was
But
the
we did that the
theme.
first year too.
I know.
Well,
We
I
forgot
was
to
more
mention it.
talking
I was
about we
I
presented
mentioned
like
it. You weren't listening.
we presented
you
like
did? Yes,
Yes,
I'm
I did.
sorry.
Abby.
I am talking here. We presented like the flag, the states, some music stuff, all that kind of stuff, and then of course the kids got up and played. And they also, some of them did their own stuff.
Yeah, that was talent show night.
And it was again,
It's really
I don't
cool.
remember
that
that
last
one.
night is always so special because
Yes. But that
it's
wasn't the last night.
That wasn't the
also
last
a
night, though.
tearjerker.
Wait, what?
But
That wasn't the last night, though.
Yes, Friday night.
I know, but not the hot dogs and all that stuff.
Maybe
that was on
2014
Wednesday
it
night.
was the last night.
Maybe
no,
it was.
2014. It was the last night.
Well,
Now, they
we
never did
moved
that
it.
again because there was just so much there.
We
We
stayed
moved
up
it.
very
The
late
great,
that night.
the great thing about Camp Merch AFC is they were always wanting to learn, and we were always wanting to
Yeah.
learn how to better do things and stuff. And that was still in the early
We
years where
learned
we were
along the
still
way.
Yeah.
figuring out the schedule, figuring out, balancing
Yeah.
things out and stuff.
well, that was
yeah.
the second camp again, just building on the relationships that we had started, meeting new kids, meeting new teachers,
Yeah.
and just, again, like Jacob was saying, really showing them that we were dedicated to this. This wasn't a
Right.
check off the list. It was like we loved doing this and we loved being a part of this.
Hey, y'all, thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. You know what? There was just so much that we had to cover that we're going to have to even split it up even more.
Yeah.
So
I
thank
know,
you
right?
for listening to part 1 of part 1 and making it through all the information that we're sharing. And we hope that it has been a blessing to you and that it kind of opens your eyes to what we've been doing over the past few years as far as on the ministry side. So we hope you tune in for part 2 of part 1. And we, as always, please subscribe. It really helps us out, and share with your friends. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And as always,
Peace, love, fam.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions or standard of the family Sowell.
Have a lovely day.